We had a few awesome trading setups this past week, and with that being said, let's get right into this week's Forex Forecast. Starting this forecast off with the US dollar COT report, the past week the banks added 712 long contracts and they also added 1,987 short contracts. We are going to do a top-down approach here. I like to kind of do this, every other week, just to kind of give you guys a reminder of the top-down perspective here. This is a weekly chart. This is the highest time frame that I use for these weekly Forex forecasts. So remember, this weekly demand has come in control, and we clearly are pushing up to the upside. There are some selling areas here, where price based out and dropped. We could see moves off of these, selling areas, but at the end of the day, the weekly supply is in control, and you're going to see why the DXY is a little bit confusing right now, because that weekly demand is in control. It's looking strong, but on the daily chart, to me, things are looking kind of weak. I mean, minus this price action here, overall, the overall picture, is looking somewhat down. I just want to point that out. And I mean, since basically the 15th of January, it's been difficult to trade. I'm not going to lie. There's been a lot of sideways price action. We've been getting some trades, but definitely a healthy amount of losses as well. And obviously, this last daily candle today, very, very nice push up back into that daily supply, but do not get distracted by that push up. Yes, it is a bullish sign. If we can break above this daily supply like that, removing that supply, at that point, I think I think looking for longs in the dollar could actually, be okay. Now, I do see reasons for shorting the dollar and looking for longs on the dollar. Now, as far as the 4-hour chart goes, clearly this 4-hour trend has continued up. We are basing out here, and then we clearly just broke above that sideways price action, giving us a pretty nice little 4-hour uptrend. So as long as this 4-hour uptrend is holding, you could be looking for day trading longs on the dollar. If you are going to get long on the dollar, I recommend it only on day trading timeframes. For swing trading setups, like I said, we want to wait for that daily supply to be taken out first. And if you look at the 1-hour chart, the sideways action was very more clearly displayed. We actually called out this beautiful 1-hour supply zone there on the dollar. Got a beautiful 5-to-1 move off that zone there. So just the power of supply and demand. Obviously kind of continue to base out after. We do have demand here now on the 1-hour chart. We could hold here, but honestly, this is such an aggressive move up. Could we see a push down? Yes. And what I'm kind of going with here on the dollar is that daily supply, to go back to it again. As long as this daily supply is holding, I am personally going to be looking for swing trading shorts on the dollar. But like I said, if you want to look for longs on the dollar, I get it. It's got to be on day trading timeframes. Don't be like this guy and leave a negative comment. Oh, it's going to either go up or down. Great analysis, right? I get the comment, but at the same time, I'm just showing you guys different perspectives. And, just because I'm looking for swing trading shorts does not mean swing trading or day trading longs does not make sense. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar. The past week, the banks added 5,170 long contracts, and they also added 4,723 short contracts. Last week, I talked about how, if this is supply and this is demand, we were kind of just sitting right in the middle, and we are kind of still sitting in the middle, although we are definitely getting closer to the demand side of the equation at 1.07. So in my opinion, it is looking to me like we are going to push down to at least that demand zone. It's been tested before right here, but just barely. So I do think we will be testing it a little bit deeper if we push down to there. And then who knows, we could get in long all the way back up to supply. And I just want to say as well, if let's say we don't push down to here and we push back up to this supply zone, I think it's a good area to potentially look for shorts. So in the meantime, we could be looking for day trading shorts here on the euro to trade down to that daily demand zone. So let's take a look at the lower time frames. You can see on the 4-hour chart, we clearly have supply being respected. Here we called out this trade last week and this one this week as well in the euro. So this one quite hasn't gone 5-to-1 yet, but very, very nice moves off of supply. So what I'm going to be looking for now, since all the supply above is tested except for that zone, I'm going to be waiting for this where we can remove that demand zone. Any 1-hour or any 4-hour supply there, we could be looking for shorts in as long as we don't hit that daily demand first. So we really just want to wait for that demand to be removed. But honestly, you could be looking for shorts, at any time. Looking at the 1-hour chart, a lot of sideways action here. Not loving it. We either need to wait for a pullback up to 1.08 up here, or like I said, wait for that low to be removed and continue to look for shorts. Remember, guys, watch out for profit margin. Let's say we get a nice push down and we hit this daily demand and there's a 1 hour supply above here. You don't really want to be taking that short trade. You want to make sure we don't hit this demand first and then wait for pullbacks before we hit this demand zone and to trade back down to that demand zone. Remember guys, any questions at all, do not hesitate to leave me a comment down below. On to the forecast for gold. The past week, the banks got rid of 21,878 longs, and they also got rid of 195 short contracts. Real quick, if you guys are enjoying this video, I do these forecasts every single week for free, so I would appreciate a thumbs up. And we made our first donation to Hospice with all of the ad revenue generated from the past weekly Forex forecast in January. It was about $45, $46, so I rounded up to about $50, and I donated it to my local hospice. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching and continuing to like the video to get it out to more viewers, to in turn get more ad revenue so we can donate that ad revenue. So I really appreciate it. Anyways, let's get on to gold here. Remember, daily demand was down here. We couldn't quite hit it. It looked like we wanted to push down to it. Couldn't quite hit it. In my opinion, it is a clear demand zone. I still like this area at 1996 for longs on the daily time frame. Now, with that being said, how do we actually go about trading gold now? The problem with the 4 hour chart is the demand is tested. Yes, we clearly, are breaking above the trend line. That is a good sign for, bullish moves, but I'm really just not seeing anything of quality here, guys. If you look here on the 1 hour chart, yes, the overall momentum and trend is up, but clearly a very, very aggressive down recently. So I think we could kind of fill in this gap up to this supply. If you are bearish gold and you say, hey, I want to trade short down to 1996, down to that daily demand zone that I was talking about, that's a completely fine idea, but I wouldn't be shorting until up there. So that would be my area for shorts at 2052. And then for longs, we either need to wait for that 1996 demand zone to be hit, or we need to wait for this gap to kind of be filled here, break above that supply and preferably that high as well, and then any pullbacks to 1 hour demand zones, we could be looking for longs out here on gold. So definitely, bullish with this overall weekly trend, right? And as long as this trend line's holding, I am going to be looking for longs here on gold. So it could be a little painful here for a bit. I am hoping we can just get that pullback, down to 1996, down to that daily demand where we can get a very, very clear pullback. And like I said, shorting opportunities are there as well if you want to get a little risky and trade counter trend to the weekly. And, like I said, trade it down to that daily demand at 1996. Alrighty, onto the forecast for the USDJPY, the Japanese yen. The past week, the banks they added 2,143 longs and they got rid of 7,667 shorts. On the daily chart here first, remember, we had this daily demand zone was formed because we removed not only one, but two areas of supply, which gave us this demand zone. You can see clearly there was demand here because as we pushed down to it, we couldn't quite hit it and we immediately pushed out of it. So, is this area of demand on the daily chart still good for longs? You guys let me know what you think. I personally think it's still fine because it hasn't been tested at 145.77. So I still think it's a decent area to look for longs if this indeed is a FACO. We are about to approach the daily supply though at 148.97. Now there is better supply above at 150. These are also areas you could look for shorts if you are bearish. I know I've gotten a lot of slack lately. Oh, you just tell us it's going to go long and short. Look guys, I'm just pointing out different viewpoints, right? Do I like the idea of getting a long down here? Yes, I think we could get a day trade off of here. Even up here, decent areas. At least these are targets, for long trades. But the lower time frames are really going to be more evident of what's taking place. What I'm looking forward to seeing here on the USDJPY, we clearly are basing out here. Clearly, a very, very nice push up back into that supply zone. Once we remove this high from back here, that will give us a 4-hour uptrend, and we'll be able to draw the trend line here, something like that. And at that point, day trading longs become much, much higher odds, in my opinion. So once we remove that high, I think looking for day trading longs is definitely going to be fine. There is some 1-hour demand down below. I would choose to ignore that demand just due to the nature of the daily demand being a little bit lower than that. So I would probably ignore that. So like I said, if you are a day trader, I would just wait for that 4-hour trend to continue up, and then we could be looking for longs here in the USDJPY. And like I said, if you are bearish to the dollar, which I personally am, we have the two daily supply zones up here. We could definitely be looking for shorts in. And even if you think, oh, I think the USD yen is going to push all the way back up to here, it doesn't mean we won't get small moves off of this zone, right? Remember, this is a daily chart. So any move like right here or right here, there could be like a 2 to 1, 3 to 1 on a 1 hour chart within that daily zone. So that's why I like to point out all of the zones here on the USD. And at the end of the day, it's all going to revolve around the DXY as well. On to the forecast for the GBPUSD. The past week, the banks added 4,900 longs and they also added 2,184 shorts. What are your thoughts on the pound? We do this every single week, guys. So I want to know your thoughts on the pound. My thoughts are, again, I've said this a few times lately, the overall trend is up. I definitely agree with that. But look at this sideways action. It's just pretty horrible. Usually I want to trade with the trend to the upside. That's pretty typical of me. Anybody who's been watching me for a while, they know that I really prefer to trade with the trend most of the time. It doesn't mean I won't take counter trend setups, but this is a time where, yes, the trend is up, but I see reasoning for shorting based on the sideways action. And that's why we actually got this beautiful 1 hour supply zone trade that went well over 5 to 1 right here. This beautiful 1 hour supply zone, a little bit of a trap setup here as well, pushed all the way down to there, over 5 to 1 here on the pound, called out in the daily market breakdown video. And if you guys want access to these daily forecasts that I do, as well as video lessons, Sunday Zoom sessions that are practically just a one-on-one, join the Diamond membership. Links in the description down below. We also have lifetime access if you guys do not want to pay the monthly subscription. So be happy to see all serious traders join the team. And as far as the pound goes now, I mean, look at the 4 hour chart, really, really choppy. I'm not really seeing as clear of a setup as that one, in my opinion. Yes, on the 1 hour chart, we have a couple supply zones here. We could see moves off of this zone at 1.26 or a little bit above at 1.27. But honestly, I think the trade's kind of already worked out here, right there. So with that being said, trade with caution here on the pound. We are into demand right now, and just the overall, the only positive thing I see for shorts is the fact that we have profit margin down to 1.25. Again, it's all going to revolve around the DXY as well. That's why we are going to have to monitor that as well. But honestly, guys, past couple weeks, yes, we've been getting some pretty good trades, like I said at the beginning of the video. But honestly, it's definitely coming with a decent and healthy amount of losses as well. I'm definitely not trying to hide that as well. It's just, you know, with the sideways market there on the DXY, been a little bit tricky. But anyways, guys, we're going to move on. On to the forecast for the USDCAD. The past week, the banks got rid of 1,272 longs, and they also added 4,791 shorts. Looking at the daily chart here, you can clearly see we had that daily supply pretty much come in control. About halfway through to demand, I thought we would get the move all the way back down to demand. Doesn't look like we are. We already got the move from demand to supply. I don't know if anyone remembers that from back here in December, but we did call it that move. So to me, it looks like we are pushing back up to that daily supply. So how do we actually go about and trade this one? Well, I mean, I'm not going to I'm going to be honest with you guys. It is very, very tricky. I would be focusing on this 1 hour chart here. We are into 1 hour supply. This is actually a decent supply zone. I think we could see a significant move off of this zone. This is one I called out in the daily market breakdown video as well. We're going to see how it plays out. Obviously, I would have preferred to take the trade back here. A little far away from now. It definitely could fail. We have supply above as well. A couple supply zones. For longs, if you are bullish the dollar, what I want to see, pull back down to there maybe, but not the best. If we can get another leg up, breaking this supply, leaving us with demand, we could potentially look for longs there, you know, if you are bullish here. And if you're bearish the dollar, which I get, you know, with that supply and control, we could be looking for shorts at this time or waiting for the supply above at 1.34 if you are bearish. Just kind of giving both perspectives here, and profit margin should be viewed on the daily chart here, where if you look to get in long, we have clear profit margin up to 1.35. Shorts, we have clear profit margin down to 1.324. On to the forecast for the AUDUSD, the Aussie dollar. The past week, the banks got rid of 5,897 longs, and they also got rid of 1,722 short positions. Looking at the daily chart here first, I was really hoping we could pull back up to that daily supply at 0.66. It doesn't look like we are, but we could kind of enter into free fall mode here. I will say, if we do pull back up to this daily supply, I think it's definitely still a great area to look for shorts at, for if you are a swing trader, which, you know, I am myself. Now, as far as the 4 hour chart goes, I actually like this 4 hour chart. I will be clear, there is supply above at 0.665. I think it's a decent area to look for a short trade as far as a little 4 hour supply zone goes. It's above all this here, we definitely could see a move off of it. I know it's a big move away, guys, but I just wanted to point that out. And, you know, with this recent break of this low here, that gave us the ability to draw a trend line here, which has also left us with supply at 0.658. we could see a move off of that supply zone, although it is a move off of all of that. And there's a lot of trading in this area. It is supply that broke a low here and demand. So we definitely could see a move off of that supply zone. And with the 4-hour downward trend line, we could be looking for day trading shorts as well. And when I say day trading shorts, guys, I mean on a 15-minute chart or a 5-minute chart or even a 1-minute chart. We could be looking for those shorts due to this 4-hour downtrend, as long as this downward trend line, is holding. One thing I want to point out though, on the weekly chart, we are about to contact this weekly demand again. Now, this weekly demand was tested once back here very well, pushed back in, pretty much broke it here. I mean, it's debatable, but to me, I'm not really considering it. Like, it is there, it's in the back of my mind, but honestly, I would pretty much go ahead and ignore it and continue to look for shorts here. Depending on your view on the dollar as well. It's one of those times where it's very, very tricky with the dollar into supply. I want to be favoring shorts, but markets like this, I mean, how can we deny this 4-hour downtrend, right? So with that being said, swing trading shorts, maybe not the best. Even me, for swing trading the dollar shorts, I don't really want to be doing that right now. For swing trading, we want to wait for some daily zones to be hit. But in the meantime, with the downtrends in the 4-hour chart, we could definitely be day trading. On to the forecast for the USD Swiss franc. The past week, the banks got rid of 1,179 longs, and they also added 88 shorts. Remember, weekly chart, we have a beautiful weekly downtrend. We have a little drop-based drop selling area here that is in control. So we definitely want to be favoring shorts, in my opinion. Even on the daily chart here, beautiful daily downward trend line here. Hopefully we don't remove this trend line at that point. I'm going to have to switch my bias, but in the meantime, I think we should be looking for shorts. On the 4-hour chart here, we had a 4-hour downward trend line here, downward trend at least, and it was very, very short-lived. We currently are breaking it at this moment. We do have supply above here. I still think this is a decent area at 0.86. I actually had an order at that supply, couldn't get filled, couldn't quite hit it. I still think it is a decent area. Will we see price push all the way back down? Who knows? We do have weekly and daily trends, so we could. But at the end of the day, this is a 4-hour confirmation coming off of weekly supply. A little bit of a trap setup here as well. That would be my area to look for shorts. I think it's somewhat decent. You could also be day trading in that supply zone as well. And profit at least down to 0.859, down to this 4-hour demand zone. So we definitely could see the move from supply down to demand. If you are bullish, that's where I'd be looking for longs, down at that demand zone. Me personally, I'd rather be trading with that overall weekly and daily downtrend. That's why I think that's going to be a decent potential move for shorts. And if we break that supply and that high, well, honestly, guys, that's a pretty solid indication that on the daily chart, we might break this downward trend line. So it's really all going to revolve around that 4-hour supply zone. In the meantime, it is the zone that I think should hold. If not, we are going to have to change our bias, and we're going to admit we are wrong. And it could be that that bend at the end of the trend. Last but not least, we are on to crude oil. The past week, the banks added 4,444 longs, and they also got rid of 8,202 short positions. So we did have we pushed up. We broke above this trend line on the daily chart. Honestly, guys, I was pretty bullish here as we broke above that trend line. We came in contact with daily supply. Now, it was very, very tested from back here, so I wasn't putting too much weight on the supply zone. But at the end of the day, we pushed down off that supply zone. I mean, there's pretty much no denying that. Pretty strong push down, I would say. And with that supply zone in control, we could have been looking for shorts. Now, we had this demand zone back here, proven demand, reacted off of it twice, removed it by this supply zone. This was a supply zone that I called out in the daily market breakdown video as well. So beautiful trade, 5-to-1 achieved very, very quickly. So that trade's kind of already worked out. The problem with trading oil now is we're kind of just floating in no man's land. Okay, we do have a 1-hour downtrend. We can kind of play that. If we do get a pullback up to here at about 73.91, I think it's a decent area to look for shorts. With the 1-hour downtrend, we could be day trading short on a 5-minute or a 1-minute chart. I would stay away from the 15-minute chart because we don't have a 4-hour downtrend. So, we could just be day trading short this 1-hour downtrend at any time. Pullbacks to 1-hour supply could also be good for shorts. as well here on crude oil, since that trade is kind of already worked out. But remember, guys, I can't do these weekly Forex forecasts every single day. That's why I do the daily market breakdown videos, quick little 10-minute video just to show you guys these zones and what I think is going to happen. So those happen throughout the week, because not every time I do a video on Friday we're going to get a setup. Fortunately for us, on oil, like I said, we have that 4-hour supply zone that already worked out, so that sucks. But we have potential more trading opportunities to come here on crude oil. If you guys want to watch the full-length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.